So the welterweight division, I think it's safe to say that we have four champions, man. We have Jaron Boots Ennis, the IBF welterweight champion, Brian Norman Jr., the WBO welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, the WBC welterweight champion, and Imantas Stanionis. He should be right now the new WBA elevated to the WBA welterweight champion. So we have some pretty good talent at welterweight, right? So what's my prediction for Jaron Ennis? Because many of us believe he is next up at the welterweight division. He will be the new king at the welterweight division. When you pair him up against the other current champions, man, I want to just kind of like get into that a little bit, how I think he fares against them. I'm not really too concerned about anybody else at welterweight because if it's anybody else, I believe Jaron Ennis smokes him. With the exception of maybe, I know y'all probably won't believe this, but Blair Cobbs. I think Blair Cobbs might be a spoiler, man. Nobody's really talking about Blair Cobbs, and a lot of people don't think he could, but I think he can spoil some stuff, man. I do. I just think he could. And I like Blair Cobbs, man. To me, he's one of my favorite fighters, man. Blair Cobbs. I think he should really be higher than he is in the welterweight division. I don't see him ranked anywhere. That's kind of strange because he just, maybe I don't get it. It's not like he's been losing fights. He beat Adrian Broner, knocked him down, knocked his tooth out. He beat Maurice Hooker. Did he knock Maurice Hooker out? Did he stop him? I don't remember. I think he stopped Maurice Hooker. He did get stopped by Alexis Roca, but he bounced back from that. All right, so Blair Cobbs, man, I think he's being, I don't know, man. I don't know if they're just overlooking him or whatever, but I got to still put Blair Cobbs up in there somewhere, man. I just have to. But everybody else, man, Jaron Ennis, I think he smokes him, man. But we gonna get in with the current champions. Do they give Jaron Ennis any problems? Let's talk about Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios, pretty much a flat-footed fighter. Don't really have much footwork. No real head movement. He's a solid fighter. He's the Mexican, the El Azteca. He's going to come forward. He's going to bang it out with you. He has some good technical skills, too. He's not just some plodding fighter that's going to come forward and just press you and try to maul you. He has some method to his madness. I like Barrios. He's a pretty decent fighter. But he just don't, I would say he's probably a little bit better than Roy Mavia, so he probably will give Boots a little bit more looks, you know what I mean? He moves much better than Roy Mavia, though. Roy Mavia has cement feet, bro. That was pretty much an easy fight for Jaron Ennis. It was just a fight where he just had to watch out for dude's power, but dude wasn't really nothing for Boots, man. He had no skill at all over Jaron Ennis. But Barrios still don't have enough, I don't believe, to beat Jaron Ennis. Does he have the punching power to do something to Ennis? I don't know if he has that power at 147. I think he still has decent pop at 147. I just don't think it's enough to really do anything to Boots, especially his skill set. So I think Boots would stop Mario Barrios probably within like maybe 9 rounds, something like that. Next up, Imantas Stanionis. He's more of an aggressive fighter, much more of a volume puncher than Mario Barrios. Him too. You don't really see him moving around much. He keeps stuff in the middle of the ring. He'll press it to action a little bit. He's a really cagey fighter. Solid, good chin. My favorite fight with Stanionis was Butayev. That Butayev fight, man, they was going at it, and they was cracking each other with everything, and their faces at the end of the fight proved the damage that they were taking, man. He takes a lot of unnecessary punishment, man, Stanionis, and that's just that's his style. Unless he has another style where he can outbox a little bit, I don't think so, but he's a tough fighter. But fighters like that don't do good against Jaron Ennis, man. So Stanionis, I don't think Boots, he's tough. I'm not sure if Boots can knock him out. Boots has the power to knock him out, but Stanionis is tough, man. So I see that fight going to the cards. Boots outboxing Stanionis, likely hurting him sometimes in that fight. And Boots can even get hurt in that fight. Boots would probably have to be a little careful in that fight because I think Stanionis, I'm not sure if he has the power like the Roy Villa do. I doubt it, but Roy Villa has some good power, man. He had a lot of knockouts. But Stanionis be throwing these weird punches that Boots probably won't see coming, and it could possibly hurt him. But all in all, probably not. But I don't think Boots knocks him out, though. I think it'll go to the cards, and I think Boots still beats him. So Boots would probably collect that WBA off of Stanionis, and he would collect that WBC off of Mario Barrios as well. Now when we get to Brian Norman Jr., that is going to be, to me, I know some people might not agree with me, that's Boots' toughest fight at 147 pounds is Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. kind of surprised me. His fight with Santillan, he showed me some things that I wasn't really paying much attention to in his other fights. For one, he's a dog. He's not a dude that just he's not standing there with with reckless intent. You know, he's there, but he's technical with that shit, man. Watch him. There's always room for improvement, but he showed he's a dog. He has a pretty good chin. He's a great fighter off the ropes. He's one of the best. He has short. His arms is kind of compact, so he's able to crack you with them short, crisp punches, left hooks, right, uppercuts. Very good, sharp fighter off the ropes. He's a decent inside fighter. He has good footwork too. Watch him. He has pretty decent footwork, Brian Norman Jr. So with that being said, he's also a very patient fighter. He never looks like he's he's worried about anything. He always looks very composed in his fights, man. Brian Norman Jr. definitely growing on me, man. Definitely. And that is going to be Boots' hardest fight. And no, it's not. Yes, it is. It is. Does he beat Brian Norman Jr.? Well, Boots has the skills. He has the power. He's quicker than Brian Norman Jr. too. Not to say Brian Norman is slow, but he has the speed over him. He has the power over Brian Norman Jr. So we say, we might think he has the power because we see Boots. He has a lot of knockouts, but I think Brian Norman Jr. might be heavier handed than Boots, man. He might have heavier hands, bro. I think he has more of that like George Foreman kind of power. Boots has that more sharper, maybe like that Errol Spence type of power, but I think Brian Norman Jr.'s power is probably underrated, man. And he can hurt Boots, bro. Boots can hurt him, and he can hurt Boots. And Brian Norman Jr., when he wants to, he knows how to move his head too. So that would make for a very, very interesting fight, man. Very. And I think we possibly could get a draw out of that fight, man. We could possibly see a draw and probably end up being a rematch. And then Boots would probably get off on that. He probably won't be able to. I don't think he'll knock out Brian Norman Jr. either. I think Boots might get dropped the first time in his career with that fight, and Brian Norman could possibly get dropped. I think we're looking at a very good fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Ennis. I think their first fight. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a rematch clause if they ever fight. And then in the rematch, I think Boots might end up slightly edging him to the decision win in a banger. And then I think Jaron Ennis will end up being the new undisputed 147-pound champion. That's my prediction. How far out do I see that going? Maybe we'll see Brian Norman mix it up with Boots. That'll probably be last. Like, we probably won't even see. We might see both of them go after another belt. We might see Brian Norman go after Stanionis or Mario Barrios. And we might see Boots go after one of them. And then they both might end up with 2 belts. And then we have an undisputed between, 2 belts apiece. We might see something like that. I would say maybe sometime 2026, early 26, mid 2026, we'll probably see undisputed between Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Boots Ennis. Just my prediction, man. What y'all think? This your boy Rebel Life Boxing. Drop them comments, talk to me. I'll catch y'all on the next one.